Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to continue the same topic from the last video. The topic is application protocols for IoT, which is the second chapter of module 3 of IoT. In this second chapter, we have transport layer and application layer, IoT application layer. We are done with the transport layer. I was discussing about IoT application layer protocols. In this topic, we are going to see what are the various categories of IoT application layer protocols and what are the different ways of transporting application data across the network. There are four categories that we have discussed. The four categories. The first category where we do not have any application layer protocol and application data is directly put over the lower layers of network. And the second category is SCADA, where SCADA is industrial protocol which were developed before the days of IP, and these are serial based protocols, and if they have to run over IP based networks, certain adaptations, certain adjustments have to be made. What are those adaptations to be made with this SCADA that we have seen in the previous video? Today's video, in this video we are going to see the next two categories, that is a generic web based and IoT application layer protocols. In this generic web-based protocol, so these are the protocols such as HTTP, HTTPS, XMPP, which are usually used for developing the applications such as consumer and enterprise applications. Examples such as online shopping, online banking, online ticket booking. The same protocols can also be used while developing IoT applications. Same programming skills can also be used for developing these IoT applications. One example you can have as a video surveillance application, where you have where you can have a IoT device that detects motion, and on detection of motion it can generate an event that can notify about this motion through certain methods such as SMS or email. On obtaining these alert messages, certain actions can be taken by this application. Okay, so here these IoT applications, okay, using this HTTP and HTTPS, these have to be implemented over high data rate network, over high data rate networks such as Ethernet, Wi-Fi, 3G, 4G, that is cellular networks. But the same protocols, okay, that is HTTP, HTTPS, okay, they can be heavyweight protocol. They can be heavyweight protocol if these have to be used over constrained nodes and constrained networks. Okay, so instead of these HTTP and HTTPS, okay, we may have to go for the optimized IoT protocols if IoT application has to be run over constrained network and based on constrained nodes. So we have to use lightweight protocols, okay, instead of these HTTP, HTTPS with these constrained networks. Constrained networks maybe based on this 6 LOWPAN over the 802.15.4 used at MAC layer and the physical layer. Okay, so what are those lightweight application layer protocols with respect to IoT applications if they have to be used over constrained networks and constrained nodes? The two most popular protocols are COAP and MQTT. This is the diagram that shows the position of these two protocols in IoT protocol stack. COAP is to be run over UDP, MQTT has to run over TCP, and these are the other protocols in a constrained network where 802.15.4 is used at the MAC layer and physical layer, and IPv6 at the network layer, and 6LoWPAN is used as an adaptation layer that packages IPv6 messages into lower layer frames. Okay. Now starting with the COAP. COAP stands for Constrained Application Protocol, which is a specialized web transfer protocol that is to be used with the constrained network and constrained nodes. Here this COAP application layer protocol has been developed by a working group of the standards organization, that is IETF. The working group name is CORE. CORE stands for Constrained Restful Environments. Okay, IETF is the standards organization that is responsible for developing protocols of TCP IP based network. Now this COAP application protocol are generally used with applications such as smart energy and building automation. Here COAP is basically a client server protocol, as it happens in case of HTTP. In HTTP, here client sends the request and server responds. Same way here also, in case of a COAP, you have a client and server. Client sends a request, a server responds. Same methods can be used here in this protocol as in the case of HTTP, such as get, post, put. Okay. Now this is another diagram that shows about the different types of communication that can happen in case of this COAP application layer protocol. It can be in between a client and a client. It can be in between server and a client. It can also be in between server and client, okay, where proxy is involved, where the proxy works as a gateway that performs this forwarding of messages between server and client. So these are the different ways of communications that are supported by this COAP. This is just a general diagram that shows the working of a COAP communication. Now coming to this format of the COAP message, it consists of header, which is of size 4 bytes, then that is a fixed length, then we have a variable length token field, then we have a optional field, that is options, then we have a payload. Here in this header we have one field, that is VER, that indicates version of this COAP protocol. Then T indicates the type of this message. There are 4 types: confirmable, non-confirmable, acknowledgement, and one more, that is a reset, as indicated here. Confirmable message means if a client sends this confirmable message, then it expects acknowledgement message. Non-confirmable message means it doesn't expect acknowledgement, then that is the acknowledgement message. Reset message. Reset message is used to reject the received message. in case if it is not able to process. Okay, so that is the reset message. These are the different types of the message. Then we have the next field, that is the code. Here this code depends on, is it a request message or a response message. If it is a request message, it contains the names of the methods, okay, such as get, post, put, delete, if it is a request message. If it is a response message, then the code contains a response code. So that is about this code field. Then we have a message ID. Every message has a unique message ID that is indicated by this field. Then we have next field, that is a token. This field will be of length specified by TKL, and each request message contains a unique token. This token is generated by request message, and unique token will be used here, and the same token has to be copied by the response message, and again this is optional. Then the next field we have options, that indicates information about the resource or destination address or proxy functions, if proxy is involved in communication. And coming to this payload, it contains the application data to be transported. So these are the different fields. Same, all this you can refer. And coming to this working, COAP, it has been designed in such a way that it can run over both, that is IPv4 as well as IPv6 version, and they can take various paths, such as it can be between devices, IoT devices, or between device and server, or you can also have a proxy mechanism. Proxy can also be defined. Okay, so that is what is indicated in this diagram. COAP connections can be in between devices, IoT devices. It can be in between, that is IoT device. It can be in between IoT device and server. That is IoT device acts as a client. It can also be in between server and a client where the proxy is involved. So these are the different COAP connections that are supported by this application layer protocol. Next, this in COAP, the smart object, smart thing, it can act as both server as well as a client. Here, as shown in this diagram, we have here the client. Okay, that is utility operation center, such as it can be gas or oil industry, or it can be power supplier company, or it can be an application running building automation. Okay, this acts as a client requesting the temperature sensor, okay, for the temperature value. Now the temperature sensor acts as a server. Client requests for the data from the server. Here client is a utility center and server is a sensor. Now this arrow marks shows the messages that are communicated among these two. Here client sends a message, okay, that message is a particularly confirmable message. CON stands for confirmable message. that it expects the acknowledgement. Okay, now this 0 into 47 indicates the message ID. Same message ID has to be used in the acknowledgement, and this indicates the method that it is requesting. Okay, and it is requesting for the temperature, and on receiving, the server responds with the acknowledgement message with the same message ID, and this is the response code 2.05, response code for the get method, indicating that successful response to the get request, and it will be followed by the requested value, that is a temperature value. So this is what the diagram that says, okay, that a smart thing can act, that is in CoAP, a smart thing can act as both client as well as server. So these are the different that is a communication, these are the different messages that are supported by the CoAP. In the next video we will continue with the one more that is a most commonly used IoT application layer protocol, that is the MQTT, message queuing telemetry transport. Thank you.